this television.
Good, come on, bienvenue. Welcome once again to another property live stream. This one is IPSA Kind of Magic. It's dedicated to promoting the aspects of the Association for Independent Personal Search Agents that you probably knew, but probably needed to know about. And also talking about why they do what they do, the different parts of IPSA, and also to be aware of the external linkages. And that's actually part of today's topic. Why sponsors matter. But before we get into it, I'm going to point out one thing. The music's going to change next week. Oh, yes. It's going to be updated to the IPSA tune. We're looking forward to that. And Hamish, would you lead the way and talk to more about why sponsors matter?
Right. It's a topic very rarely mentioned on air, when in reality, we do actually speak about it quite significantly between the sort of team. Because to us, the people we work with, we integrate with each other as local search agents. We do that. That's as a matter of course. And of course, when we go back to sort of Jackie, for example, who one of those founder members, it was just a few people gathering together that decided, well, you're going there. Why don't you go there and I'll go this one? And it worked on a very, very sort of cozy type basis. It became much more professional as time sort of went on. So now we have this integration, but we wouldn't be where we are now if it wasn't for the fact that we worked with people outside of IPSA. And these are many of the times they're going to be suppliers into us, but they do help us out by sponsoring. And really, we are a non-profit organization at IPSA, and they help us keep away from dipping down into the red. Not that we've ever managed to, but we have got close from time to time, particularly in the early days. However, the sponsors keep us alive. And not only do they actually sort of integrate very, very closely with IPSA members, we do discuss with them certain aspects of how how we could service them. They were integrating with the solicitors. We're actually speaking to the same sort of people to get the best out there that we possibly can for solicitors. But many of them as well are also speaking to the PCCB, the Property Codes Compliance Board, which all members of the of IPSA, of course, are regulated by the PCCB. So it's really a very, very big sort of organization when you actually start bringing in those that integrate with us. But it's the sponsorship, and Heather's the one, because she's got the list of all of those that sponsor us, who are currently sponsoring us, and she will be able to effectively speak more deeply about it, because she's aware of a few more of the cogs than me as a chairman need to know about.
Of course. Well, welcome to the show, Heather. And the sponsors also tend to pop up at your annual general meetings and others, various other meetings. So they get an opportunity to interact with IPSA members directly there, don't they?
They do. We have kind of two categories of sponsors. So there are 4 companies that have become corporate partners of IPSA. So not only do they support our events, but they pay an annual fee to be part of IPSA, and they work with our members. Now, those 4 companies are Martello, they're an independent environmental report provider. We've got Elan, based up in, I think, the Sheffield direction. They have a platform that IPSA members can use. You have CLSQ, who provide insurance solutions, and Pinpoint Information that do chancel and coal reports. And all 4 of those are corporate partners. So they pay an annual fee to be part of our organisation, which supports us in the day-to-day running. But then when we have an event such as our Members' Day or a conference, we'll get in touch with them along with other organisations and ask if they'd be prepared to support that event. And of course, if they do, they come along, they chat to our members, and it's very much two-way traffic, because those companies, they support us, they help us to gain new business, they give us opportunities, they send people our way, so they're sort of a lead generation tool there, but also we are able to then recommend their products to our clients, so they get a bigger reach within the industry. So yeah, it's definitely two-way traffic. There's a mutual benefit there.
When they present at these meetings, there's an extra benefit for them, because then they get to be seen by the members, and therefore they're going to talk about them more often. That's an extra benefit there, is it not?
Oh, absolutely, yes. And we always build plenty of time into the programme for the day, so that our members can wander around, chat to the sponsors. They'll bring a table with some brochures and some merchandise, but they're also there to chat about what their products are. But we allow, we have our networking breaks, we have a nice lunch break, and then we always, as go into the evening drinks and dinner, and it's a good opportunity for everybody to talk to each other and to learn more about what is offered either side. And it might well be that I might be chatting to a sponsor who says, oh, I know a solicitor that works in so and so, they're not far from you, and they'd be looking for someone else to provide their searches. So there's definitely opportunities for our members, as well as opportunities for the sponsors themselves.
Well, I think it's amazing, actually, that because I'm very pleased to say I've been intimately involved in a couple of these sessions. There's a great familial atmosphere between both suppliers, between promoters, between IPSA members. Everybody seems to want to support each other, and I think a great many really good connections are made there. I've seen that happen myself. So these annual general meetings and so on that you have, they're not just focused on how well IPSA has done that year or how well IPSA members. It's an education piece, isn't it?
Oh, absolutely. We always bring somebody in to bring our members some new information. If there is new legislation coming, we talk about it. We'll bring people in to talk about business. So it's not necessarily just about our side of the industry, but about how to run your business. There might be tools that might help you, save you time. But also it's very interesting to learn more about the products that our sponsors are promoting, because the more we know about those products, if they present to us and say, right, we're bringing out a new report, or we're enhancing a report, they tell us what that information is. I can then go out to my clients, or Hamish can go to his clients, and we can say, right, that report that you've been buying, it's now been enhanced, they're offering this. It helps us to be able to sell those products on to other companies. So it's definitely a win-win.
Hamish, IPSA are making great bounds as far as expanding across the UK, and I suspect sponsors will therefore get much more of a countrywide presence just by being associated with IPSA.
Yeah, I mean, the internet. A very common statement is the fact we only know what we know. One of the great attributes to the sponsors who not only sponsor us but also join in with our events is they will also encourage us to create events, and they will actually come along to support us if we happen to be putting any events on. For example, we can actually create a gathering. We know it sort of fully well. I mean, and as Heather just sort of mentioned there, particularly say somebody like sort of Martello, for example, they will actually come on and they will present at our particular sort of meetings on our behalf to actually be able to speak directly to our clients. So the great thing, as Heather just explained, it's the two-way route. But our understanding is much, much better, because when we actually look at it, our brief is sort of, if we were just basing our work on purely providing a local authority search, as many people know yourself, you're learning actually, Gareth, it can get very, very complicated. However, it is sort of something that we've been able to identify, we work on, we update anything new that comes through. But it's good to be able to understand what goes on outside of just the local authority searches. And this is where our sponsors drop in. Without the likes of those particular sort of sponsors, we wouldn't have an understanding, as we do have, much more of what goes on the insurance side of things, what goes on with the environmental side of things, because these are extra burdens put upon solicitors. And because of our understanding and knowledge that we gain from these sponsors, because we're engaging with them, we are much more able to pass on to our direct clients, our solicitor clients, what in fact they would be gaining by working with these particular people as well, because they will be safeguarded, and our direct clients will not need to worry about that. Particularly when you look at a solicitor, they've got PI cover they need to think about, but they don't need to worry about anything environmental, because environmental people can actually cover that particular sort of aspect. The same thing can actually apply relative to the insurance side if they needed something explaining on that particular side of things. So it really is a great boon to everybody. It's education for our members. It's good because, if you like, our sponsors get to understand our needs, which is the same as the sort of client. So it does really meld very, very effectively.
Heather, to my mind, IPSA or IPSA, it kind of provides a kind of kite mark as far as search is concerned, because it's not just simple like factory conveyancing. You plug it in and hopefully you get some information out. Would being associated with an association dedicated towards getting the not just all the searches, but shrink them down to the parts that you actually need, would that, do you think, improve the way in which a sponsor is perceived?
Well, I think yes, because at the end of the day, you've got conveyancers are very busy. They've got multiple files ongoing at any particular time, and if they're receiving bulky reports which are full of information that aren't relevant to that property, then they've got to take the time to sift that through themselves and take away the information that isn't relevant, so that they're left with what they need. So obviously as search providers, local search providers, we do that. We take out the information they don't need and make sure that everything they do need is in there. But if likewise our sponsor, corporate partners and sponsors are doing the same thing with their reports, they're keeping it to what's relevant and pointing people in the direction of the bits that are most important in that report, then that is definitely saving the conveyancer time. So if we're all working in the same way to try and save the conveyancer time, point them in the right direction and take away the things that they don't need to know about, then we're all on the same page. It's happy days for the conveyancer.
In your role as chief exec of IPSA, I'm assuming there are plans afoot that in coming forward over the next 12 months or so to perhaps ever deepen relationships with sponsors and bring more on board. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Well, yes, we've got our next event coming up in July. And so far, we've only reached out to our corporate partners in terms of offering them sponsorship opportunities, because as a corporate partner, that is one of the benefits they get over everybody else in the industry. So we've reached out to them. They've got a few more days left before they respond to us. And then we will go out to the wider industry. And we are approached regularly by other firms that work in our sector that are interested in working with us. And, we'll say to them, well, you can become a corporate partner, or you can support one of our events, whatever you'd like to do. And there are good opportunities then for them to come along and meet our members. So yes, we're always looking for things, but we're not looking for just anybody. It has to be relevant to what we're doing, and they have to be firms that we trust and believe in, and their products have to be things that we think are going to be useful and helpful to our clients or to our members. But yes, we're always open to discussion.
Hamish, well, Another excellent podcast talking about the benefits of being associated with IPSA. Would you care to take us home, please?
Well, indeed. Well, this particularly is a good opportunity to say thank you very much to those sponsors who are also corporate members. And just that sort of reminder too, that anybody who is not outside of there, who might be involved with conveyancing, the demonstration that we actually sort of have, any of our corporate partners are more than willing to explain their products to the clients as well. So it works on that particular sort of basis. And there are times indeed when we can actually sort of bring them in and to actually sort of discuss matters with a new client or with even current sort of clients. But to me, it would not be the same if we did not have those sponsors attending our meetings, because they enjoy it as much as we do. They enjoy that particular sort of interaction. And it is, whilst it's very professional in terms of what we can actually sort of offer as a body, as a combined body, with both IPSA members, our corporate members, and indeed the other sponsors who will join in with the particular sort of event, we have got really something very positive that works together. And when we actually look at this sort of situation where people are actually, there's this big argument, isn't there, about estate agents because they advise this particular solicitor, they're expecting the solicitor to pay. There's nothing of that goes on in terms of what we actually sort of do, because we will actually choose our particular suppliers on the basis of their quality, not on any other sort of matter. But the quality is better understood if people actually join in with the celebrations or actually sort of come to the meetings and explain exactly what they're on about. Because I mean, it would be great if we all understood fully as members exactly what these corporate sponsors of ours were able to do, but we don't entirely. So it's better to have them on hand, and they can actually fill us in with more details, and we become more free. That way as well, we know what they're developing. And what's so good about it, if we need to develop something, we can ask, particularly the corporates, members, as well as being, we can ask them, can they modify this? Can they change that? Would this be a good idea? And therefore, it works. And they help our development, and we help their development as well. So
hand in hand approach. Excellent. Yes, quite. I just want to say thank you so much for taking the time out to be with us, Heather. Your input is always edifying. And Hamish, thanks for helping put this together in the first place. And to all of you watching, there's more to come. IPSA is to quote Hemingway, a movable feast. More bits and treats keep being put on the table, so watch out. We'll be talking more about them in the future. Watch out for our other property podcast. We have one tomorrow, which is really our bun fight property quorum, where we get a number of experts together. We talk about a particular topic that's right now in the zeitgeist. And on Friday, of course, cladding matters, which is at 1 p.m. Please do come along. But until I see you next, or I don't, please keep your feet on the ground, keep reaching for the stars. And in these troubled times, please try and look after your mental health. Until next time, bye-bye.